Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of 2.5 Salesmen. I'm your host, Mario, together with my phenomenally looking host, Julio. He just celebrated his 21st birthday. He has six packs. He has a silky skin, and I heard 7 ladies just threw themselves over the weekend at you. Hey, Julio, how are you?
Great. Always happy to entertain this.
This obsession of mine.
Exactly. Thanks, mate.
It's actually a funny thing. We never met in person. So
True.
I don't know what will it's gonna create a singularity or what will happen.
I'm just shorter than you think. That's the main thing, mate.
I am 195, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a big guy.
I'm literally 20 centimeters shorter than you, so.
But you look phenomenal.
I
Cool.
try.
So today's guest is Sean from the 555 Club, and Sean is an expert on mental health, specifically mental health for salespeople. Sean, welcome to the podcast, man.
Gentlemen, good to be here. How are you?
I know, doing good.
Lovely
doing good.
to hear
trying
your
to stay
accent.
healthy.
I think we'll feel bad by the end of this because, like, Sean is gonna make us realize how many things we're doing wrong for our own mental health.
Oh, I'm sure. As long as it's actionable, time-based, realistic, and that's a smart goal. Never mind. Okay, so Sean, give us a little bit of intro on what you do and how did you begin basically working in this very specific
Yeah, so the sales part of it came about by accident, mainly as that was where a lot of my connections were. Start where you are and then grow from there. So there just happened to be salespeople connections. But the 555 Club itself, which is a daily live drop-in service for salespeople and anyone, indeed, if you're outside of sales, there's plenty of people not in sales. So it's 5 minutes of breath work, 5 minutes of meditation, and 5 minutes of gratitude journaling. How I in effect fell into this was I didn't work from 24 to 30 through an illness. I had cancer. At 30, I qualified as a financial advisor, worked there for 2 or 3 years, and realized that I had a lot of tools that I personally used when I wasn't in a good place mentally and physically. And I started putting plans in place to offer these back to people in the hope that they might be able to cut out the 6 years that it took me to gather the lessons. Before diagnosis, I was working in a job that was, I would say, probably above what I was mentally able to handle at that time. I put myself under a lot of pressure, worked a lot of long hours, which a lot of people do in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and beyond. It just so happened that it caught up with me quicker than most.
Julie and I talked about it, and probably everyone listening, we are talking about like avoiding burnout in specifically in sales. Like that's the topic for today's podcast. But Julie and I talked about it. It's so when you overwork, it is kind of like borrowing energy from the future self. Like you would use it today, right? But it's the future self where you're borrowing this energy. This is not like, oh, I'm investing. No, you're not.
I would say you're stealing rather than borrowing because you're not giving it back.
Oh,
nice.
Well, that's why he's an expert.
Nice. What would you say, like, from your experience, obviously, apart from your personal experience as well, which I'm sure it's valuable, but specifically from the people that you worked with, it's even, I feel, sparks my curiosity. What would you say is the biggest problem that people face when they come to you?
Well, let's say salespeople, since
yes, that's what I mean. Right? So, yeah.
The biggest problem is that most people don't know how stressed they are. They don't realize that they're operating at like 97, 98% capacity all the time. And then they either in a life event happens, or they pause and they realize, holy shit, I've just had my foot on the gas steady in every aspect of my life. And that's impacting it. It starts a vicious cycle downwards. So you get busy at work, you work a little more. That causes a little bit of stress, which causes you to miss a little bit of sleep, which then the next day you're not at your best. So you work a little harder to make up for not being your best, which causes you to miss a little bit more sleep, and that increases your stress. Everything affects each other.
Yeah.
I have an immediate question about this, because at least this has been my own journey. I am at the point that there's nothing that I don't do to prioritize sleep. So like that doesn't matter what it is. I have like, okay, apart from the occasional time I go out once a fucking moon, but like it'll be go to bed at the same time, 1 hour of like bit of meditation, journaling, reading, no phones, etc. And I don't think there's any amount of money or any deadline that would get me to think I'm gonna stop doing that, you know. And I don't think that many people is that too crazy, or is that I feel that's exactly how it should be, but maybe it sounds too mental.
Sleep is my barometer for pretty much everything else. If I can look after my sleep, everything else is easier. Everything else flows. If I don't look after my sleep, where I am now in my health, I just get cranky and not as productive. A few years ago, if I neglected my sleep for a couple of weeks, I'd end up in hospital. I'd catch an infection. My body wouldn't be able to fight the infection. I'd be in hospital. So the lesson was sleep. And part of the way my life is set up with the 555 club, with one-on-one work, is that if I need to grab 20, 30 minutes in the middle of the day, I can do it. So if something comes up last night and I'm a little bit later, I can get 20 to 30 minutes sleep. And that's in a very intentional way I've structured my life to do that.
There is a cool technique I've used for years now, and I will tell you from whom I got it. It's called a Nappuccino. So this is where you're close, like you want to have a nap, like in the afternoon, as you said, 20, 30 minutes, but you drink a cappuccino beforehand. So it takes about 30 to 40 minutes for the caffeine to kick in. You get a bit of sleep. When you wake up, you're up and running.
That sounds actually like terrible.
That's used in road safety advice in Ireland. If you're tired driving, grab a coffee, have a sleep for 20 minutes, and then go again. That's actually official advertisement.
There we go. I am ahead of my time.
This is terrible.
In Ireland.
Caffeine is so bad. You should never drink
caffeine. Do you know who I got it from? You never guess. I think you've read this author 100%.
Don't know.
Very Dan Pink, Daniel H. Pink.
Oh, really? Okay.
I've heard him. Maybe it was in a TED Talk or in probably one of the books. He calls it the Nappuccino.
I think that maybe I have read this. I think you're right. Ooh.
Yeah, I think I didn't When or Regret. One of those two books. It's not in Drive. I know Drive by heart. So it's one of those two books. And he talks about it. If you need like to rest real quick, drink up cappuccino, go to bed, sleep for like 20, 30 minutes, and then you will be like really, really refreshed and up and running after that.
Okay, fine, but I wouldn't give this as a top advice, because you're still going to have caffeine in your bloody body and still going to not sleep that well, especially if you do in the afternoon. Because I think caffeine, like if you drink past 10 a.m., it's very likely you're going to have it in your body later.
I found that to be very true.
Let's focus on sleep then for a second, Sean. So like, okay, let's say I'm assuming you're getting a bit more senior people, because they've realized that they can't do without sleep as much as youngsters do. So a sales manager comes to you, they realize they'll be stressed. So what would be the top 3 tips you give them to stabilize their sleep?
I don't.
Okay.
As if they ask me specifically, I will tell them what works for me. But sleep's not something I would advise on. First of all, is take a stock of where you're at. What are your habits and routines each and every day? Before you try and fix and change anything, look at where you are. And I don't care if that's health, business, sales, whatever it is. Whenever you look at what you're doing, whatever you're doing is getting you the results that you currently have. So that's clearly not working if you're looking for help. And from a simple rudimentary test point of view, start changing things. Give it 2 or 3 weeks. Does it help or does it hinder you? If it gets better, keep doing it. Maybe switching the phone off 90 minutes earlier, maybe eating a little earlier, maybe no blue light 3 or 4 hours before bed. And if these things work, keep doing them. If they don't work, stop doing them. A lot of people bring this, show me the hard and fast evidence why everything works. It's like, try it. Stop using science as a get out of jail free card. Yeah. Show me the data that cold calling. Do it for a month and see if it works for you or not.
Yes. I was literally going to say that this sounds very much like sales coaching, right? Someone is coming to me and tell me, I want to do 1 hour review and I want to be a master of cold calling later. I'll be like, okay, then you're not coming to me because it's not going to happen.
No, I do the same thing in my coaching practice. I say, look, if you want to get, because I only do long-term coaching. So when someone says, all right, just, fix my org or do a little bit of training with my guys. No, like if you want to get like 10, 20, 30% increase, tweak your CRM to do a little bit better job on writing emails, get better at cold calling, and you'll get it. You don't need me for that. However, if you want like long-term transformational change that will bring the impossible future to your doorstep, then maybe we can talk. Not sure yet.
Makes sense. I think that's a lot of the coaches go for the slightly longer term approach. And I think anyone that sells the solution for $100 or 1 hour, etc., it's bullshit.
I'm selling a 49 euro course for enterprise sales to close 7-figure deals.
That's good as a deal for sure.
Right.
All right.
But
anyway,
Sean, I think you are on point here. I've been like really data driven in my sales approach. Most of my sales life, like what is the data says, what is the data says, what is the data says, and I think I learned in the last few years to just relax and let it come. Relax, let it come. Do my best. I know I'm good, and just relax, and it will come. So that was kind of my. I did do a shift in this specific regard.
There's a caveat with all of these things.
Yeah.
You're not to use that as a get out of jail free card for ignoring data. Everyone wants to be black and white.
That.
It's the be kind to yourself. It's like but you can't be kind to yourself to the point of where you're letting yourself off the hook. You still be kind and hold yourself accountable to yourself in the same fashion. It's never black or white.
Dude, people never do that. They, especially the fast and loose, like high performers, they will just push, and they will hold themselves accountable in the sales arena. But when it comes to personal physical health, they will not apply the same standard for themselves.
I agree. But actually, Sean, there's something that you mentioned that I really, really resonated with me, which is the either one way or the other, right? There's a guy that I really like. It's, Adam, the no alcohol drinking on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Yeah. Like his, I love his stuff. And he describes himself as a strict coach. And I like that because I sometimes talk to people say, I'm getting better. And look, if you're getting better is 1% a day, that's fine. If you're getting better is 0.0000001%, and you're still patting yourself on the back, I'm like, shut the fuck up, man. Like, you're not getting better. You're coasting, and you're just using this to procrastinate.
And you are delusional. You are delusional. You're lying to yourself.
Agreed. Okay, sure. So look, we did a lot of the talking still. So you said that sleep is the barometer.
For me personally, it is. Like I need 8 or 9 hours is my sweet spot. But that's my
I think it's for everyone, to be honest. A friend of mine is a sleep coach, and I think if sleep is probably the level 0 of it's like you need decent communication skill to sell, right? I think if you don't sleep, you can't have a good life, period. I would say, you might be able to not socialize and have a good life. You might be able to not exercise a lot and have a good life. You might be able to not eat well, blah, blah, blah. But if you don't sleep, you're literally going to shrivel and die. I think there's no way around it, basically.
So Sean, let me ask you this. There is a lot of talk, especially in the sales community, about routines, right? Specifically, like the morning routine, right? So from your talks with clients and let's say your coaching practice, specifically on mental health, like what would you suggest, or what do you see that is happening in like specific morning routines that both like boost productivity, but also are in sync with the topic of mental health with salespeople, right? Since this is what we're talking about.
Again, I have two views on this.
Go for
it.
Yeah.
It has to serve you throughout the day. You can get up, meditate, cold shower, drink a juice, do yoga, and then scratch your ass for 8 hours at work, which is a total waste of, just stay in bed for an extra 2 hours. It's easy to fool yourself into work on things that feel productive. So if the morning routine is serving you and it's actually setting you up for the rest of the day, do it, lock it in, go for it. But if the morning routine is every night, your wins are, I had a good morning routine this morning, but you didn't do any outbound, you didn't move the needle in your business, but you're patting yourself at night because you had a rock solid morning routine, chances are, Alex Ramonzi says, a good morning routine, let's get out of bed, have a coffee, do some work.
I didn't hear that. Okay, that's nice.
It's like, that's his morning routine. It's like, I don't make my bed, I don't do it. Like, I get out of bed, I put on a coffee, puts on his headphones, has a nicotine, and like works. And he's probably the most successful modern social influencer entrepreneur person. It wouldn't be where I would start if someone was looking for performance improvement. It wouldn't be the first thing I would say. Like if you're looking to, there's easier wins than your morning routine if you're looking to improve performance and stress. A lot of things I see for stress isn't a stress or an anxiety problem, it's a lack of action problem. It's like, do your work and your stress will go away. In some cases. Do what you said.
Oh my God! Yes. That's exactly.
Do what you said. Do what you said you were going to do, and you won't be anxious on a Tuesday evening. Now there are, again, this is black and white. There's caveats. There's people with genuine loads of stress, but a lot of it is get up, do your work in a timely fashion straight away, and you'll go home feeling good about yourself.
Nice.
Your sentence. People are very good at making work that doesn't matter. I'm paraphrasing it, right? But you said something. That's gold, my friend.
This is the snippet, by the way. This is what we use.
People do shit only to be busy, but it's crap. This is how me and Julia would say.
No. I mean, this resonates so much because I have a feeling sometimes, especially when I'm, well, one of the reasons I like talking to people that pay for coaching is because they're already motivated to make a difference, right? But whenever sometimes like I got corporate environment or even with friends, it's okay to celebrate wins. You can't celebrate wins that don't exist, right? Like if you celebrate, wins, I want to celebrate the fact that today, like I'll give you a very practical example. When I started my road to 3,000 rejections, I realized that I was just happy to take the no. Because I was like, I'm collecting rejections. And I was like, I think I was 20, 30, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm just
I
celebrating.
was the first one. When you announced it, I was the first one that said to myself, what the fuck is Julia doing?
Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate. But yeah, like
Everything is not supportive.
Absolutely. But it's true. I realized that I was like, I'm giving up too easy. I'm giving myself an out when really I should be looking at something else. So like that resonated so much.
But
go
fundamentally,
on.
you don't have to do any of this. You know, like if you look at it from a 500-year view, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So if you're genuinely happy fooling yourself, keep doing it. But if you're telling people that you want change and you want more money, and more money is fantastic, but there's trade-offs for it. There's things I'm not willing to sacrifice for, you know, to push to a certain level. But find your happy. Some people are coasting happily at 300, 400, 500 grand. Some people are living happier at 35 grand. But if you're always looking at he's on 55, he's on 75, she's on 125, if it's always a pursuit for more, you're not going to find happiness and contentment there. No. But if it's a pursuit in getting a little bit better and being satisfied at the end of the day with what you've done, find that. But there's nothing wrong with fooling yourself. Do it if you want. And I mean that genuinely. You know, say, look at it from 500 years. You know, that question of, can you name your grandfather's father?
I can't.
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Yeah. So that's literally your parents' parent. And you don't know anything about them.
Dude, I'm gonna make my kids make a gold statue out of my face to be in the hall of Krivokopets, to be forever remembered. I'll be like Cleon, you know, just making clones of myself all the time.
So really, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get a gold statue, and then your children are gonna sell it.
Just my face. Just my face.
They're gonna sell it. They're gonna sell it. But okay, look, Sean, there's something you mentioned earlier that I want to pick on. So you said there's easier wins. So one of them is doing the work, which I love. Yes. Any other tips, especially hard tips for people listening? You know, like things that they don't want to hear, but they probably should be hearing.
My favorite that I use it with hypnotherapy clients. I use it in one-on-one work. It's from David Sandler, that you can act your way to a better feeling, but you can't feel your way to a better action.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Talking about snippet number 2.
That line from Sandler is, and then it's understanding, like another one from Sandler is that you don't have to enjoy doing it. And like I would write out the things that I'm allowed to not want to do this. I'm allowed to fail. I'm allowed to. So whenever I sit down, it's like, I don't want to do this. It's like, oh yeah, I'm allowed to not want to do it, but it still has to get done. And then a line from Alex Harmonzi is, the work doesn't care. It just needs doing. So what is the work in your life? Maybe that's the gym. Maybe that's sleep. Maybe that's, you know, sleep doesn't care about Netflix. It just needs gut. It doesn't care about the shit you've going on. You know, same with the cold calls or the work or the prospecting. It, you know, if it's a cold calling block, it doesn't care about your 3 coffees. It just needs done.
Work doesn't care. It needs to be done. Oh man, that's.
I literally think Sean is putting himself in the top podcast guest we just had,
in
the top stealer of others' quotes.
but look, it's about the timing of them.
I always said it. Me personally, I am not a creative person, but I'm really good at stealing shit from others and making it my own, right? So it doesn't matter. It as long as it works, it fucking works.
Yeah, don't let the message.
And you credited all of the quotes, so it. Come on.
Yeah, they're
Nice.
way too famous to take credit for. If they were like if they were obscure, I'd be claiming it.
Oh, I
Fun,
have a
fun.
cool this now, but I'm gonna contain myself. All right.
Um, so look, at this point, I do wanna ask a bit more, because obviously you know how to make, like, how to make it work for your clients, right? And you picked out of all the possible starting point activities the 555. So the question for me is, what made you decide that?
Can I ask you to reframe that just so I fully know what you're asking?
Yes, good, nicely. Look at him reversing my.
But I just make sure.
Of course. Now, what I mean is, like, I'm assuming you started 555 because you felt this 5 minutes of each is the, let's say, best starting point for someone trying to get to a level of peace, etc. But or maybe not.
100. I would love to be able to say that, and it would be a great story that I sat and worked out exactly what people need. In truth, I needed a top of funnel for something else in the wellness space. I was driving and had the idea for the 555 club that was going to be breathwork, meditation, gratitude. I tweaked it. It would, first of all, it was like 6 minutes of breathwork in the morning. No, that's too, there's people doing that. 20 minutes is too long. 15 minutes, it's 1% of your day. So it started with that as a free top of funnel that ran on Instagram. And very quickly, I started getting feedback from people who had never did breath work, never meditated, never gratitude journaling. And the feedback was just, some people saying, they were crying on it. I still get people saying that I cried today doing this, doing it, because they just hit something a little bit deeper. And then I realized that my top of funnel was more popular than what I was initially trying to sell. So I dropped what I was trying to sell. And then I followed the data. And then I just thought, okay, and then that led to in-person work. There's a conception that all this stuff has to be like hours long and super, super complicated. And you've got to go and sit in a hill for 20 years with a wet blanket on your shoulders and the freezing cold to get benefit from this. No, it doesn't have to be.
No.
What's the easiest step you can take? What's the easiest next step you need to take?
Well, this is, I don't know if you know, or if you're using the work from Milton Erickson, but he was one of the first guys to say, oh, therapy as we are doing. So he's a guy, I think, 70s or 80s, something like that. He said therapy that like we are doing it today is broken. Like we need to get to the like the moment of profound change very quickly, and we can get to it. Julio, if you don't know, well, you know Milton Erickson, right? He's
of course. We both did Erickson coaching.
And NLP is based on most of his work. So that actually has very, very pragmatic use. The short bursts of getting where you need to be.
And you're also rewarding the, why fight the programming of the dopamine system? Because 15 minutes, there is that you have actually done something. You've actually done something for yourself, and it feels like you've done it. It's not like do the 555 club and in 6 weeks you'll get a reward. It's like 15 minutes, and you're leaving there feeling like, right, yeah, there's the reset button pressed. I'm ready to go. It's
interesting. No, it's. I mean, look, it's a good name. It's a good trio, and I think
it's a very good name.
I also what I like about it is it relates in the sense that it lets you try 3 different things that are quite good. I mean, I think if you read any bloody statistic, they'll tell you journaling is good for you, breath work is good for you, meditation is good for you, right? I mean, I don't think there's, I mean, you can find someone telling you cold calling is bad for you. You're not going to find a single person telling you meditation is bad for you, period, right? So I think it's a winning, but at the same time, it's, because when I started doing meditation, I remember like I was trying to do 15 minutes. I fucking hated it, right? I managed to do 1 year running, and I was just sitting there like getting distracted all the bloody time. And then when you shift it to different ways and you start maybe in smaller chunks, it becomes definitely more manageable. So I really like how you put it together, because it gives a different, more digestible vibe.
Yeah.
And it's about what you expect going into it. If you're going into meditation expecting calm and peace, serenity, deep focus, you're going to get your ass kicked, because you're going to sit down and your mind's going to go nuts. You're going to remember all the stuff you had to do. You're going to remember that thing you said to that girl or boy 20 years ago drunk at a bar. You're going to remember, like, all that stuff's going to, you're going to
specific that.
and you're going to say, like, fuck this, I am not doing that. It doesn't work for me. The same way cold calling doesn't work.
This is the biggest phrase. Is like, no, meditation doesn't work for me. It's like, nah, mate, it's like someone telling you diet. Wrong. Yeah, it's like dieting doesn't work for me. It's like, mate, it's not dieting doesn't work. It's just you like eating shit food. Like, let's be fair. Yeah.
I only ate 7 burgers, but I used to eat 10. So, but this is not working. You know, I decreased my calorie intake. It's like, fuck off.
It reminds me of a sketch from Ricky Gervais talking about like someone getting their stomach stapled. It's like, I had no other choice. I was like, how about 9 pints of chips a day instead of 10? You know. But yeah, okay. Like this has been enlightening.
Yeah. Shall we want to wrap it up, or want to do one more segment?
I've got one more question I wanted to ask. Is, I'd say, like, you know, because someone that got to the end of the podcast and they're wondering, you know what, I'm not ready to commit to anything, but I want to get started. What would you say is the first step to make that action that you would recommend to someone that feels they might need to, but they don't know where to start?
There's so many answers to that. So for someone who wants to get started, don't stop reading around where to go. Like, get on YouTube and start. There's so many different styles of breath work, so many different styles of meditation. So don't try one and say I don't like meditation. It's like, maybe you don't like how that meditation was taught. Maybe you don't like how it was set up. Maybe you had false conceptions going into it. Maybe you had 3 coffees before you sat down and nearly had a heart attack. But if you're looking to start, anyone who's made it to the end of this podcast, you know where to look on YouTube, you know where to get started. But then I will say, once you get going, a turning point for me was actually getting trained. It was like, oh wow, this has taken. Everything got deeper, everything got easier and more challenging, but in the right ways. And it brought a lot of understanding to, okay, yeah, that's much like you. I was sitting for 15 minutes and the mind just batting around. It's like, okay, so what are you getting up for? And then get up at the end of it. Or listening to meditations where I was like floating through the clouds. Like, that's fantastic, but how does that apply at 3 o'clock on the last day of the quarter when I'm fucking stressed to my eyeballs? Where does that visualization meditation help me in this moment? What are you looking to get from it? Start with what you want out of it, and then reverse back from there. Are you looking for more focus? Are you looking for better sleep?
Yep.
Are you
begin with the end in mind?
Yeah. Are you constantly visualizing the future or living in the past? Yeah, these are the areas I would like to clean up, and then find a teacher that's going to help you get there. And they're not expensive. Like an online course, a good online course you get for a couple £100. A couple of books you'll get there for 30-40 quid. But to get started, yeah, what do you want out of it, and then reverse engineer that would be what I'd say.
Nice. Good.
Sean, it's been a pleasure. Usually at the end of the podcast, we do 2 things. We kind of, like, each of us does kind of a wrap up, like what is the main takeaway. And then if you want, we can give you like 30 seconds to do a little bit of promo.
I'm always down for promo.
Yeah. So my takeaway is the sentence that I got a kick out most is it's salespeople. Well, and that doesn't apply just to salespeople. Well, let's keep it there.
Humans.
Are very good at doing meaningless work, like keeping busy without actually doing something. And then we wonder why we are.
Just on that, Mario, there's a concept of like you don't want to be efficient, you want to be effective.
Yes.
Because you can be efficient at all the wrong things.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
you can
Ooh.
like
Sean is
I-
just a
I
coal
can
mine of
I can
snippets
peel
today.
potatoes very, very, very well. I'm a good potato peeler, strong Irish roots. That's not going to help me. You know, that's not effective in my business. So move away from efficiency and look towards effective.
Julia?
But look, for me, many things resonated. One of the things that's really hit home for me was when Sean mentioned, you know, it's like that you want to be less stressed, do the work. Because I realized it's exactly the same for me. If I don't do the work that I set myself, and I'm a pretty productive guy generally, but still, if I knew I could have done more and I didn't, I'll then be like, come on, mate, today you let yourself off the hook, right? So for me, the best way to shoot the stress away is doing the work. That's the absolute.
Yeah. There we go. Sean, parting words? Promo?
I'm going to caveat that before we go on, because you'll get somebody listening to this who is working like a workaholic, and they just feel that working more is the answer. You know, it's never black and white. It's like, if your stress is coming from having a pile of work to do, maybe the best place to start is starting on the work. What's the first smallest task you can do? Excuse me. In terms of the promo, the 555 Club runs 5 times a day, all live calls, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Time spread from morning to evening in the 15-minute chunks that we talked about. If you as an individual, your team, anybody, it would be amazing to have you on. It's been incredible to watch it grow over the last 2 years, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it ends up over the next 2, 10, 20 years. Fellas, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean. This was phenomenal. Thanks, man.
It was indeed. Thanks.
Yeah.